If you're new to this channel, my name is Lucy Price. I'm a relationship coach and I guide people to heal from heartbreak, learn incredible relationship skills, and develop impeccable, secure relationships with themselves and with other people. On this channel, we talk about relationships, self-love, how to create the lifestyle that you really enjoy so that you can have the fulfilling life that you actually want. And so if that sounds up your alley, I hope that you'll subscribe and join the journey. This particular journey that we're going on is a 30-day self-love journey. And today we are going to be talking about the inner critic, as well as how you can affect the inner critic so you can get rid of it, and two of my favorite tools to talk to and release the inner critic so that you can move forward and create the life and the relationships that you really want. Okay. The inner critic. The inner critic is often sometimes called the saboteur, the saboteuress, that voice inside of your head that tells you not nice things, mean things, judgmental things, critical things, things that end up causing you to feel shame or guilt or not enoughness, feelings in your body that don't feel very good. Most of us have experienced this voice before, and maybe we haven't quite labeled it as the inner critic or the saboteur, but I find it helpful to do so, mostly because then it gives us something to work with. Now, this inner voice, I think, comes up for a few reasons. Our brains are trying to protect us. And so when we have critical thoughts, like we're not good enough, or we're not important, or we're never gonna be able to do something, we're ugly, we're unattractive, we're not intelligent. When we have these thoughts come up, it seems counterintuitive, but oftentimes those thoughts are coming up to keep us where we are because that's what the brain has deemed as safe. What the brain knows, the brain views as safe. And so if you are used to not feeling good about yourself, criticizing yourself, staying in a certain kind of lifestyle that may not be what you want and may not be getting you towards your goals, but you're used to it, it's what your brain knows, your brain often will try and keep you there. And so your brain will keep you there with these thoughts of you're not attractive enough, you're not good enough to do that, who are you to be saying this, who are you to be showing up this way? And our brains can come up with all of these thoughts from our inner critic, from our saboteur, in order to try and hold us back, in order to try and keep us safe by keeping us in what we know. But also our inner critic comes up from a certain set of belief systems, from a certain set of experiences. Often these are belief systems and thoughts that we gathered through childhood, either being told by a parent that the work we're doing isn't good enough, that we have to achieve more, we have to act a certain way. And if we don't act a certain way, then we're not going to get care, we're not going to get the love that we really want, we're not going to get our needs met. And so we always are adjusting ourselves and trying to change ourselves to please other people so that we can get recognition, we can get care, we can have our needs met. And so these belief systems cause us to be hypercritical of ourselves, because if we're not hypercritical of ourselves, then how are we going to get our needs met? If we're not always criticizing ourselves and trying to tell ourselves to do better, then we're not going to receive praise or recognition. And so a lot of these times, these inner critics aren't even necessarily our voices or how we really think of ourselves. It's these impressions that we gathered from other people. It's these belief systems that we've gathered from other people, or from our situations, from our circumstances, from our experiences in life. And so we criticize ourselves and we nitpick ourselves because in some ways we feel like we have to get care, we have to get ahead, to progress. Sometimes it's because we don't know any other way. We don't know what it's like to thrive with words of compassion, words of kindness. We've only progressed with words of shame or words of not enoughness. And so sometimes we just don't know the other way. We don't trust the other way because it's something we haven't experienced before. And so sometimes this inner critic that we experience in our life is from our past experiences and from other people and other people's judgment of themselves or their lives. And then we just kind of absorb it as something that's true, even if it doesn't have to be, even if that's not how we have to feel about ourselves. We think that we have to think this way. We think that we have to feel this way about ourselves, but it's not actually true. We don't have to listen to the inner critic. We don't have to go off of what the inner critic says and deem it as true. There is another way to be. You can move forward in life. You can grow in life from a place of self-love, from a place of deep self-compassion. And in fact, you're more likely to grow and you're more likely to achieve what you want to achieve when you come at it from that place. Because shame keeps you stuck. When you feel shame, when you don't feel good about yourself, it's harder for you to want to do things. If you feel like you're never going to be good enough at it anyway, why would you bother trying? Why would you put in that effort? Because if you put in that effort, it's still not going to be good enough because you've deemed that it's never going to be good enough because this voice inside your head says that it's true. Whereas if you believe that you're a good person and you deserve good things and you can grow and you can improve and you come at it from a place of self-love, you come at it from a place of deep self-acceptance and reverence, you're more likely to want to grow in things and to improve in things. Humans thrive off of positive reinforcement. People thrive off of positive recognition for what they are doing. And you're more likely to grow and to achieve what you want to achieve when you're feeling good about yourself in the process, when you feel like you can grow, you can achieve, you can progress. And so really navigating the inner critic is an impeccable skill to develop, and we all have the opportunity to develop this skill. There are some things that set us up for success in navigating the inner critic, like looking after your body, for example. Inner critic comes up a lot when our human is not looked after. So this is where being hangry comes in, not getting enough sleep, not getting enough water, not looking after our bodies in the way that our bodies want to be cared for. When our bodies are suffering, when we're hungry or tired or haven't had enough to drink, it is harder for our brain to function. Our brains are going to reach for the autopilot thoughts, are going to reach for the critical thoughts, for the not enoughness thoughts. And part of that is because our bodies aren't set up for our brain to really think differently. And so right off the bat, one of the ways you can help your inner critic to go away is by looking after your body, really making sure that your bodily needs are cared for. Because when your body is not set up for success, your brain is going to have a harder time being kind to yourself. Your brain is going to have a harder time reaching for those kind, nice, compassionate thoughts. It's like the Maslow hierarchy of needs. If your base needs of a human aren't cared for, it's going to be a lot harder for your brain to reach for all of the positive things or kind thoughts. And so looking after your body, really making sure that body is cared for, will help with the inner critic, help to dissipate the inner critic. As well as looking after your body, you can even engage with your inner critic. One of the ways that I like to engage with my inner critic is by acknowledging my inner critic, but doing what I want to do anyway. So for example, if I have this voice inside my head that says, don't post that, no one's gonna like that, everyone's gonna think you're an idiot if you post this on social media, I will go, okay, inner critic, I hear you, but I don't believe you, and I'm going to do it anyway. Or, okay, inner critic, I know you're scared, but we're in this together and we can do this. I engage with my inner critic. I acknowledge it because part of the inner critic is just wanting to be heard. This voice inside your head just wants to take up space. And so if you can acknowledge it and then redirect the thought, you're going to have a better chance of success in moving forward. Don't beat yourself up for having the thought. Thoughts come and go, but acknowledge the thought and decide to move forward anyway. The second way you can explore engaging with your inner critic today is by the meditation that is going to come up next. I created this meditation to give you an opportunity to sit down with your inner critic and to sit down with your inner child that first experienced that criticism, that inner child that didn't get their needs met, that didn't hear whatever it was that they needed to hear, that didn't receive whatever it is that they needed to receive. In this meditation, you'll have an opportunity to connect both with the inner critic, to really understand where this is coming from and what it's causing you to feel, but then also to talk with and sit with and be with your inner child and help them move through that inner critic at its first circumstance, so that that inner critic can be released and that story can be released. That story that's holding you back, that story that's telling you that you're not good enough, or that you're not going to achieve something, or that no one will love you, or whatever this thought is for you. So if you're ready to engage in that meditation, take a moment to get comfortable, get some layers, find a comfortable place, get some headphones, and then you can proceed with the meditation.
Allow yourself a moment to get comfortable, to find a comfortable seat, and just notice how your body is feeling today. Taking a gentle scan all the way from the head to the neck to the shoulders, chest, belly, hips, legs, feet. What sensations are alive in your body? How does your body feel here in this moment? Allow your body to release. Starting with the head, notice if there's any tension in the facial muscles, any holding of the jaw. Allow the teeth to part, the tongue to float freely in the mouth. Allow the shoulders to release away from the ears. Find softness in the chest, in your belly. Allow your hips to soften. Allow any softening of the legs, of your knees or your ankles or toes. And with this softness, allow a gentle structure to come back in. So find a grounding in the pelvis and allow your spine to gently grow tall so that your body can be held in this moment. Imagine that you're sitting on a log just on the bank of a beautiful winding river. This is the kind of log that is so comfortable you could sit here for hours, watching as the wind helps the leaves to dance, watching as the water, clear as crystal, carries its way down to the riverbank, round the corner, the gentle whirlpools forming as the water flows. Allow yourself to feel the wind kiss your cheeks, the soft sun to warm your skin. And on the next inhale, you feel a gentle gust of wind sweep across your skin, through your hair, across your clothes. And you notice in the distance, up the bank of the river, that a few leaves have fallen into the water and are starting to make their way down around rocks, around twigs, and you start to see them come up to you. And as you're just sitting on this log, watching these leaves flow, they flow beneath your log and down the river until you can't see them anymore. Another gust of wind drops more leaves into the river, and the same thing happens. They come, they find their way to you, and then they carry on down the river. Our thoughts are like this. Our thoughts come, they move past us, and then they go. And you can treat your thoughts just like the leaves in the river. You can watch them come up, and then you can watch them go. Sometimes we have thoughts that linger. And sometimes these thoughts don't feel very kind or loving or compassionate. They don't feel good in your body. And as you're sitting on this log, witness one of those thoughts that tends to come up for yourself. A thought that doesn't feel very kind. A thought that isn't very loving. But you hear come up in your brain a lot. And as this thought comes up, take notice of how it feels in your body. How does this inner critic thought feel in your body? Where is it located? Does it sit in one place? Or does it move around? Is it sharp? Does it have pressure? Or is it still? Allow this inhale to fill your body all the way through the toes, up to the hips, the ribs, the heart, the head. And exhale, let anything go. When was the first time you felt that feeling? How old were you? Where were you? What did you need in that moment? What did you need to feel loved, to feel safe, to feel secure? Imagine that version of you, that smaller version, that younger version of you, feeling this feeling. You have the opportunity now to speak to that version of you, to give that version of you whatever it is that they needed. What did that version of you need to hear? Tell them. What did that version of you need to feel? Feel into it with them. What did that version of you need? Give it to them. Be with that version of yourself. On your next inhale, allow yourself to feel more spaciousness in your body. more safety in your body. Allow the jaw to soften, the muscles to soften. And watch as that version of yourself starts to fade away. And send that version of you away with love. As these thoughts come, know that those thoughts can also go. And if those thoughts get stuck, like leaves sometimes get stuck on logs, know that you can always go back to that version of yourself who first felt the hurt, who first heard the criticism. And you can give that version of yourself whatever it is that they need. You can tell them whatever it is they need to hear. Allow some easy inhales and easy exhales to come into the body. Begin to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Perhaps even find a gentle sway in the spine. Allow the shoulders to release as you start to flutter open the eyelids and take in the world around you. Namaste.